Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into an incredible story. It's about how one person completely transformed her diabetes control, boosting her time in a healthy glucose range by a whopping 16%. And she did it in just 8 weeks. The kicker? It wasn't some miracle cure or new medication. It was all about unlocking the secrets that were already hidden inside her own health data. Okay, so I want you to imagine something for a second. You're doing everything you're supposed to do for your health, right? I mean, you're on top of it, checking your CGM more than 20 times a day. You're counting every single carb, like down to the last gram. You're putting in all the work. You've got the latest tech. You are trying so hard. And yet, the numbers just won't budge. I mean, how frustrating is that? It's this exact spot, this really tough place, where our story's hero, Deepti, found herself completely stuck. But then something amazing happened. In just 8 short weeks, she did this. A 16% jump in her time in range. That's a huge deal for diabetes control. So you've got to be asking, how in the world did she do it? How did she finally break through that plateau? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Let's dive into the data. All right, so let's set the stage. Deepti's story starts with a struggle I think a lot of us can relate to, especially if you're managing a chronic condition. It's that feeling of being totally overwhelmed by information but having no clue what to do with it. It's like you're drowning in data. And this quote from Deepti herself just hits the nail on the head. She said, "My CGM told me what was happening, but it never told me why." Man, that just captures the frustration perfectly, doesn't it? She had all this information coming from her continuous glucose monitor, but none of it was giving her real answers. It was all just noise. So let's look at the hard numbers. This is where Deepti was starting from. She's a 34-year-old software engineer. She's had type 1 diabetes for 12 years. Her time in range, that's basically the amount of time her blood sugar is in the healthy zone, it was stuck at 58%. I mean, for months. That's way below the recommended target of 70%. And look at that glycemic variability, 42%. That number basically means she was on a constant, exhausting glucose roller coaster, day in and day out. So what changed? What was the big aha moment? Well, Deepti's breakthrough came when she stopped looking at all her data in separate little boxes. She started connecting the dots and basically forced her data to talk. The technical term for this is multi-data correlation. But honestly, that's just a fancy way of saying she took all these different streams of information, her glucose numbers, her sleep tracker data, her activity levels, and for the first time looked at them all together to see the bigger story. And boom, the patterns started to emerge. Check this out. This was the first big one. On nights when she got less than 6 hours of sleep, her average morning glucose was a whopping 168. But on nights where she got more than 7 hours, it dropped all the way down to 122. That is a 46-point difference just from sleep. Isn't that wild? Okay, the next discovery was just as mind-blowing. A simple 15-minute walk after lunch. Turns out it wasn't just a nice-to-do thing. It was absolutely critical. Look at those numbers. We're talking a 64-point difference in her afternoon glucose spike. That is a massive lever to pull. And then there was this one. On days when her meal times were all over the place, her variability was high. But when she stuck to a consistent schedule, her stability improved by a solid 10%. So here's the really incredible part. All of these game-changing patterns, they were there the whole time, just hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. So now she has these 3 massive insights, right? Sleep, post-meal walks, and meal timing. But here's the smart part. She didn't try to tackle everything at once. No, she was strategic. She built a step-by-step 8-week plan to turn these insights into real, lasting habits. And I love how methodical this was. She focused on one big thing every 2 weeks. She started with sleep because the data showed that was her biggest lever. Then she layered on the movement. And finally, she nailed down the meal consistency. See, this wasn't about some crash diet or quick fix. It was all about building habits that would actually stick. And you know what? This super structured, data-first approach, it led to one of the most incredible transformations her endocrinologist had ever seen. I'm not kidding. The results pretty much speak for themselves. Just look at this chart. Deepti didn't just get a little better. She completely smashed the American Diabetes Association's target of 70% time in range. She went from being stuck at 58% to an incredible 74%. That isn't just a number on a chart, that is a life-changing improvement. And it didn't stop there. It wasn't just the time in range. Her average glucose dropped by 24 points. Her estimated A1C, that big 3-month average, fell from 7.4 all the way down to a much, much healthier 6.8. And that glucose roller coaster we talked about, she finally got off. Her variability improved dramatically. But, this story is about so much more than just numbers on a screen. This is where it gets really good. All that data translated into real, everyday improvements. She started waking up refreshed instead of groggy. The brain fog from those glucose swings, gone. And the anxiety, she went from checking her CGM constantly, like 25 times a day, down to just 8 or 10. For the first time, she truly felt in control.
Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? What can we all learn from this?
Well, Deep D's journey gives us a really clear, repeatable roadmap for anyone out there who feels like they're stuck in a rut. And the key word, really, is personalization. Now, Deep D used a specific tool called my Health Gheware to help automate the analysis, but the tool itself isn't the magic bullet. The principle is what matters. It's about gathering your data, connecting the dots to find your unique patterns, and then making a systematic plan to act on what you find. And of course, always doing this in partnership with your healthcare provider. And this quote from her really sums it all up. She said, "I stopped following generic diabetes advice and started following my data." The tech just showed her the path. She was the one who had to walk it. The real power wasn't just in the AI, it was in her commitment to follow the personalized roadmap that her own body gave her. So, at the end of the day, Deep D's story is powerful proof that huge change is possible. And it's not about working harder, right? It's about working smarter. It's about finally listening to the story your own data is trying to tell you. The question is, are you ready to listen? Deep D's story is just an amazing example of what can happen when you really listen to your body. So if you're curious about what multi-data correlation could reveal for you, the My Health Gheware AI analysis that she used is available, and it can help you start discovering your own hidden patterns today.